I've been around for a few years with a lot of companies here and abroad. Before that, I was managing the customer experience at NICE Systems, the customer experience program. And I wanted to share some insights and focus areas that I learned following around the years, and hear your feedback as well, of course. So customer satisfaction and loyalty, customer retention is something that we all pursue. We all want that. But the big question, and we saw a lot of presentation today with techniques and tactics, is how to pursue it and how we can achieve that. It's a big question. I try to answer or describe what I see. So we have a gap, right? I think it's more than ever. It's a time that we have more tools, right? We have a lot of tools. We have more information about our customers than we ever had. We have quite good flexibility to change and to react to changes. And if you compare our situation to 10 years ago, we have a very high time to market, right? We can change things very fast. But eventually, we still have some gaps, right? As I see that today, we have still high fences, which means we've built a lot of things around us, but sometimes the customers are not easy with going over these fences and engaging with us. Sometimes we also see the transactional customer, right? We want to solve the problem, we want to sell the deal, and move on. We don't have much time because of all of these tools and information to be proactive. And many times, not at your companies, but many times we don't stop to listen. I can give you an example from a company that I work for, very far away from here in Ra'anana, where we did a very short survey, and we discovered a small company, FedEx, in Malaysia, that wanted to churn and raise a red flag. So we decided to call and see what is going on there. And what we discovered is that they are not using the system for the past year in a good shape because they've switched teams, and all they wanted is a training, just a training. They asked about how they use the system. So we sold them a training, we sold them a consulting package, and then their friends from FedEx India heard about this and buy also the system, and their friends from Kuala Lumpur also buy this system, and we turned a customer that was very unhappy to a customer that recommend us. And it's only because we listen, just like that. One more thing that I want to emphasize here is there are a lot of startups here. And it's very important to build the mechanism of listening, okay, and listening carefully at the beginning, because it's very hard when it goes and scale up, when it goes global. And simple issue is becoming a very big issue when you need to manage a high and big operation. So from the customer, how do they see this? How do they see us? Sorry. What I think they see, and what I know they see from many projects I'm doing, first of all, we don't understand the problem before we provide a solution. We want to quickly kill the problem and move on. And sometimes we are killing the wrong problem, and sometimes we're providing the wrong solution. Most of the time, we don't understand the root cause. And this is very basic. Again, we don't have time, we don't have patience, we don't have capacity. So we keep, circling around our tail. Many times we don't understand their agenda, which means we don't feel what they feel. We don't understand the situation that they are at, and we don't understand the business impact of the problem on their operation. And I think finally maybe, and I will let you read across the slide, we sell a lot of features, okay? But part of them only used, okay? And we invest a lot in developing features, and not all of them bring value to the customer. You know, we're investing in understanding the market and product management, and understand and plan the R&D process and so on. And finally, after all these checks and QA and implementation, most of the customers don't use all what we are doing. And eventually, what I think, most of the time, we are selling products, okay, and deliver relationship. And I think this is the gap in a nutshell, because you know, we saw some presentation between the sales and the customer success teams. We cannot, it's very hard to sell relationship, right? It's more easy to sell a product. But eventually what the customer sees is the relationship and the health of the relationship. And this is what drives the customer. So eventually, it's all about outside in versus inside out. If we could only look from the outside in to our company, versus, you know, work in silos and solve issues within our department, things would be better. I think the customer success, you know, trend is going to the right direction in these terms, but still there are a lot of things to do, and the way is very, very long. So if you would like, from the organizational point, we have these departments that we are trying to, each one trying to do its best and to collaborate, if possible, with the other teams. But the customer is an outsider. While from the customer point of view, it doesn't matter if it's sales or implementation or customer success team. He wants a solution, he wants value. I often hear salespeople saying, it's a support issue, I don't care, you know, it's your customer. And I still hear it quite a lot. But eventually we need to understand that the customer looks for value, he doesn't look for a product. No customer is trying to buy a solution, to buy a product. He wants a solution or to benefit or to answer his business need. And I think, you know, we need to pay attention to it across all the customer journey. So I wanted to give you some examples and some case studies. What happens if you listen more carefully to your customers and bring your customers into equation, while you are doing business. These are some examples of, by listening to customers and implementing listening across the customer journey, you can achieve. In deal closure, in retention, of course, in customer loyalty index, and so on. I will give you two case studies from what I saw and implemented within my customer. So the first case study was a software company that had quite high customer retention, or customer churn, actually. And once we ask the customers, what is the main issue, what is the main driver for the churn, we understand that they are afraid to do an upgrade. Now, if you ask me, the company knew that, right? But I think authentically, when we heard it from the customer, and we heard it from a lot of customers, we understand the impact of this. And this is something that the board and the management, it's very hard for them to say, okay, this customer doesn't know what he's talking about. When we show them that the main driver for churn is the customer that's afraid to do an upgrade, we convince the management to change all over the way they are selling upgrades. So they moved from selling upgrades in millions of dollars a year. They just decided to skip it. And instead of that, they decided to sell it for free, or to give it for free, sorry. And even train and do PS with their customers together, hand in hand, all of this with no charge. And this, for the first time, stopped the churn for many years, actually. It tripled the customer loyalty index, and we got a very, very positive customer engagement score from those customers that actually before wanted to churn. The second, I see something in Jap. The second case study is about reference customer. Again, we had a very limited pool of referencing customers. And you know, we tired them in the sales process using the same all over again, the same customer, asking them to come to conventions, to write a case study, and to recommend, and so on. So what we did is actually ask these customers, or the customer database, what they want to achieve with us, how they see their success, how they see their improvement and their ability to grow within their company. And after we saw that, we established a customer reference program, and you can see the numbers, the conversion rate, and the speed of acquisition of new customer raised significantly. So the way I see it, customer experience is a way, sometimes a long way, but a methodological way, a methodological process to boost customer experience and loyalty, and to bring customer value. If you remember the PDCA of Deming, right? Plan, do, act, check. I think if you are looking on the planning side of this PDCA, my focus while working with customer is first of all listening, and listening across all the customer journey, not only the customer success, not only the support, not only the professional services, but starting from the sales and marketing, just listening. And then the second phase is segmentation. We need to understand who we are facing with, who we are talking with. It's not just specific person within the account. We are talking about set of people, right? We're in the B2B organization, so we're talking about 10 or more people that are involved in this engagement with us, and we need to understand who is the right persona, what the different personas that we are working with. Then to identify what is the business goal, what is the business background, and what they want to achieve. And afterwards, and we are good in that, execution, monitoring, and improving. I think the planning side within these three phases is the most significant and most important step. So overall, if you look on the CXM arena, there are a lot of things in the basket today, but I divided here into 4 quarters. One is strategy, and with this quarter, you can see customer segmentation, what is our value proposition, how we do change management, and so on. The second is to map the customer journey, and then to analyze according to this cycle that I showed you before, and then to do execution. Now, the execution is easy if you do a good planning by executing customer experience program, reference program, success organization, and so on. The heart of this process, from my standpoint, is working with the customers and asking them what they think. So you need to do internal interviews to understand the customer journey, to do this segmentation, to do this customer experience review, and to set goals and objectives to your program. And then the execution is to build an engagement plan. If you decide to do a survey, which is mostly recommended, to do a survey, to communicate good with your customers openly, and then to execute, to analyze the result, and so on, and to add ongoing processes in order to maintain. It's not one-time shot. It's a long way, and it's hard, and you need to maintain and monitor it ongoingly. And this could be one deliverable of this approach. I hope you can see with the colors. So you can take your customer journey and authentically understand from the customers what are the lowlights or the weaknesses and what are the highlights across the customer journey, and to take action. Okay, there are a lot of things to do. You need to prioritize and understand what impacts the most the customer journey, the health score, or the loyalty levels. But once you are coming with an authentic picture across your customer journey with these lowlights and highlights, it's much harder to argue with you if you are right or if you are wrong. And I can tell you that, you know, it's another thing than understanding that without taking the customer feedback into account. You can do, you know, can do a lot of things, but this is very authentic and very hard to argue with. And then you can do this segmentation and decide that you are going with the promoters and take advantage with your promoters and see how they can benefit your business, or of course save your detractors, right? Or look who are the quiet customers. Many times you have quiet customers, they are not red, they are not green, but they can be the majority of your customers, and they are quiet, and these customers are the most problematic customers because they are under your radar. And this is just an example how you look into a specific account and see the loyalty index, and also identify within the account, within the different persona, who are your good players and who are your detractors. So it's not an account, it's a group of people that you need to work with. And the score is not enough, you need to drill into and understand what is the perception and what is the loyalty score, or what is the tendency of each one of your key personas there. So it's very hard, it's very detailed, but this is what I recommend to do. And eventually, what I think is that we need to take a three-layered approach, bottom up, and when we come to improve customer engagement, customer experience, we need to look on these three levels. One is customer specific. There are customers that are very red or very green. Sometimes we don't check the green ones because we think we are safe, and we need to make sure that we are covering these specific customers. The second layer could be relevant to a specific product line or specific region, and we need to create specific improvements. And there are things that are cross-company and more strategically need to be addressed. And then we need to take something more, you know, cross-company wise. And last thing is communication. From what I saw till now, it's very important to ongoingly communicate with your customers, not to hide, not to try to say something that you know, you think that they won't see, but to be very transparent, to be very consistent, and to also think not only externally about your customer communication, but also internally, because what your customer feel depends a lot on what your employee feel and how they are being engaged to the process. I think that's it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.